Hey guys, so as you may know, my Wave of the Sea candle is soon to be making a comeback. I've been working on retesting this scent and it's gone really well, and I'm really happy with it, and I'm delighted to say it will be launched on Friday. But I just wanted to delve into a little bit of the backstory behind the scent, specifically why a Wave of the Sea, where did I get this idea from? And it might seem funny to some of you guys because you might know that I actually cannot swim. It's one of my long to do list items this year is learn to swim. But I wanted to tell you a little story about why the sea is so special to me and why it always has a place in my heart. And also, it makes me feel very at home when I'm by the sea. So when I was about 7 or 8, this is gonna sound like a scary story, but it has a happy ending because I'm still here, obviously. So when I was 7 or 8, or maybe 9, I'm not too sure. We were on holiday in Spain, and we had taken like a day trip, like a boat trip, for the day, and they had brought us out to a little island. There was like a cove, and we went in there and they dropped us off, and we had a couple of hours in this little covey beach area. Me being that age was very much not happy with A, the amount of sand flies everywhere, and B, they had this like bubble seaweed everywhere, and it did something to me in not in a good way. I was freaked out by it, didn't like it. So also the sand was really hot and it was burning my feet, so I basically just took to the ocean or the sea. I'm not sure. Maybe it's the ocean. And of course, I had my Lilo like permanently attached to the hip. I was obsessed with my Lilo. Couldn't swim at that age, let me remind you. Didn't stop me from trying. I would generally just dive headfirst into the pool and then struggle. Eventually, I think my parents got me like armbands or something. But anyway, the Lilo was also a good float. So I took that into the sea and was just kind of messing around in the sea. And it was happy enough. I could still touch the bottom. I was kind of using it as a paddle board, and then I got up in it and I lay down on it. And after like 5 or 10 minutes, I kind of looked up and around, and I realized that actually I was floating out to sea, and I was not anywhere near where the shore was. And when I kind of dipped my feet back in, I couldn't feel the sandy bottom anymore. So of course I panicked and I started trying to like paddle back in to shore, but the more I paddled and the harder I paddled, I was actually still just drifting out into the ocean, and that is where I was like, right, this is the end. I'm just gonna float out to sea and a shark is gonna eat me. Naturally enough, at that age, sharks were like one of my biggest fears that was up there with like quicksand as ways that I was probably gonna die. Yeah. So I was just panicking. I was getting really tired trying to swim back in. Couldn't do it. I think I eventually just gave up and probably cried, but I don't really remember that. But I was really stressed. And then there's like this gap in my memory, and I don't know what happened, but I like blinked, and all of a sudden I was back in the shallow area. Don't know how it happened. It was really strange because nobody had seen me float out. Everybody was doing their own thing. It was back in the day where the adults didn't really, keep too close of an eye on you. You were sort of left to your own devices. I didn't have any friends with me as well. My brother had probably gone off to play with his friends, and I didn't have anybody else with me. So yeah, I don't know how to this day. I don't know how I got back to shore because I distinctly remember like the harder and the more effort I was putting into swimming, I was just going backwards. It was really distinctive to me. But yeah, I got back onto shore, was like, oh my god, guys, did you see what happened? And my parents were like, what? No, that never happened. You're fine. But it really had a big effect on me. And I don't know, the sea has always been I've always felt like it sort of had my back, as scary as that it can be and as weird as that sounds. But yeah, I've always felt like being by the sea is kind of like home to me, really. Yeah, and also a little bit like mystical somehow, because I don't know how that happened. And then later on, when I was older, I spent a lot of time out in Termonfeckin, out by the beach there, and I have really, really great memories of just like bringing my guitar down to the beach in like early mornings or late evenings, and just playing by myself. The beach at Termonfeckin is really great. It's huge, and I could just walk to it from where I was staying with my aunt. And we would go like kayaking in the sea, and it was just, you know, that feeling after you've had like a day at the beach and you are so tired and you were like so hungry you could eat a table. But it's such a good feeling, like your skin is glowing, there's sand everywhere, and you're just lying in the back of a car being driven home. I don't know, just I've always loved it. It really sticks out in my memory as some of the happiest times. Um, and even like there was tennis courts near the beach as well, and I remember playing with my cousin had a Spanish student, and one year one of the Spanish students could play tennis, so I played with him, and he was also left-handed, and just trying to play a left-handed tennis player, I had this epiphany moment of like, okay, now I understand why everybody hates us, because we're horrible to play against. um, because I guess you just don't practice against left-handed people as much. So I was very greatly humbled playing tennis with him, and just the smell of like the sea drifting in, the sun baking the tarmac, you know, sweating, salty skin, sand just like stuck everywhere, your hair going really like sun bleached, I guess, the bottoms of it. Yeah, the sea, being by the sea, I am so envious of anybody who lives by the sea too. Um, yeah, that's why the Wave of the Sea candle really came about. It's one of my moments collection. I guess there's a whole lot of moments involved in it, and the scent notes for it are sea salt, sandalwood, and there's some hints of coconut and peach. I have wanted like coconut in a candle for the longest time. But any ones that I've tried have been a little bit too strong in the coconut and not enough of anything else. So I'm really happy that this one has a really nice blend of those scents. And I'm really excited for you guys to get your hands on it again, because I know some of you guys have been asking for it, and very soon, this Friday. So that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the little story time. Chat to you soon.